What up, Screen Fiends? I'm GB, and you're tuned in to Headz TV, where we like to discuss all the wonderful things appearing on your movie and your TV screens. In this episode, we're gonna give my review from the last episode of The Walking Dead. I know it's late, but I've been sick. I'm sure you could still hear it in my voice. So it took me a couple of days to get it out. But here it is. So it's gonna be the review of Season 7, Episode 13, titled Bury Me Here. All right, so in my predictions for this episode, I said it was going to be a Morgan, Carol, Kingdom episode. There wasn't really as much Carol as I thought there was going to be. There was actually very little Carol in the episode. It was mostly Morgan and Richard, and then we had some Ezekiel in there. Let me start off by saying I like this episode a lot. I had some big problems with some of the character choices that were made, but overall, I liked the episode a lot. I usually like the Scott Gimple episodes. He wrote that episode. I think he wrote all the Morgan episodes. I'm pretty sure he wrote Clear and Here's Not Here, but I'm not 100% on that. All right, so let's start with Carol because, she has the smallest part of the story. Basically after Daryl told her that everything was okay and they took care of the saviors, blah, 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 she's second guessing it because Carol knows better of the world. And she knows that things usually aren't as clean cut as that goes. And Benjamin, I'm not sure if Benjamin tells her this after she meets with Daryl. But in the same episode, she runs into Benjamin in the woods, and he tells her he's got to go on a supply drop or whatever. She tells him to go on that drop. I don't know if that's before or after the Daryl thing. If it was after Daryl told her, then I can definitely see that kind of making her go, wait, Daryl told me that the saviors were taken care of, and now Benjamin's telling me that they're going on this supply drop. I don't know, but Carol is putting two and two together herself. So she goes to the kingdom, guns blazing, looking for Morgan, trying to find out the truth. And of course, Morgan doesn't tell her because in this point in the story, Morgan is still on, all life is precious. He's battling with that. The all life is precious. I made a video about like Carol's philosophy versus Morgan's philosophy in their story arcs. So if you're more interested in that and want to hear about that, definitely check out that video. I believe it's called Carol versus Morgan. All right, so that's pretty much it for Carol's story. I mean, then towards the end, after Morgan does whatever he does and whatever happens, we'll talk about that in a minute. He finally says he's going to tell Carol. He tells Carol. And she's pretty much ready to go and handle business. Now, what surprised me was she didn't just go and try and hatch some half-cocked plan to go and attack the saviors. She goes to Ezekiel and tells Ezekiel that it's time to fight. And to me, that was different for Carol. That's showing maturity in her character. Because before season 4, she burns the people alive, does it by herself. With Lizzie and Mika, she does it by herself. She doesn't make Tyrese a part of what she has to do. When she goes and attacks Terminus, same thing. She lets Tyrese stay with Judith, and she goes off and does it on her own. So this is the first time we're seeing Carol get gangsta, and at the same time, she's doing it smarter. She's not just going all out, risking herself and life and limb and all that. She's actually trying to formulate a plan and involve the group as a whole, which could come back to bite her in the ass because she may feel guilty for any deaths that occur because of this. Or it could be, the blessing that I think it is to where this is who Carol is, a leader of people. We've seen her be a mother. We've seen her be a fighter. We've seen her be submissive. We've seen her take charge. We've seen her snap a little. We've seen her break down and be emotional and cry. We've seen her take care of people. We've seen her take people out. All of these are qualities of a great leader, especially in this world. So, and she can definitely command respect of people. I think they're setting Carol up to be a leader. I'm not going to say of which community I think she will be a leader of, because I don't want to spoil anything that they may take from the comics involving other characters. Because obviously, Carol, you know, if you're a comic fan, you know the deal. Okay, I try not to do too much spoilers and too much comic stuff. I hate for stuff to be spoiled from me. Sometimes I have no choice but to pull from the comic. I say that all the time. But I do my best to not spoil anything for you guys. If you want to go out and read the comics, which I definitely recommend you do, start from the beginning. And if you're somebody that doesn't want to be spoiled from the show, because they do pull certain things from the books. Okay. All right, so that's pretty much it with Carol's storyline. That's where I think it is and where I see it going, where she's not going to go off and be crazy Carol. She's going to be smart, calculated Carol, leader Carol, which we've never really seen before. Okay. And then now let's move to Morgan, who had a great arc this episode. I like his whole overall arc. In all the episodes he's really a big part of, from the beginning of the show till now, he has a great arc of somebody just trying to survive with his family and deal with the world the way it is, to going crazy after losing his family, to being brought back from the brink of total insanity to where I don't think he could recover by Eastman, to now progressively learning that all life is precious, yes, but there are certain circumstances and certain things that are going to leave you no choice but the only way to protect the innocent is through killing or hurting the bad. Okay, so his whole arc this episode is great. Benjamin is basically his surrogate son. It's not only his surrogate son, it's obvious in the episode because he snaps and calls him Dwayne, but he's also his pupil. And those of you who've ever been an apprentice of anyone, whether it be for a job or for a martial art or any kind of training, one-on-one training, the pupil and the mentor, the teacher, those are very close bonds. So to have something else good in Morgan's life taken away from him, look at it. His wife, his son, Eastman, his staff, Tabitha the goat, now Benjamin, gone. All the good things that come into his life are being taken away from him. And it's hard for him to keep that peace. It's hard for him to keep that train of thought. And especially once he finds out that it was betrayal, it was Richard that did this, that took this innocent life, this important person away from Morgan, he snaps for a second back into clear. Now when he goes to Richard's room, to confront Richard about it with the melon, I truly, wholeheartedly think he went there and he was going to kill him. And that's why he doesn't say a word about it. But then he realizes in that moment, I can't kill him like this, because then everyone is going to come after me. I need to kill him and make a point of it, a statement of it, to let the Saviors know we're with them, even though I think he says it, that he plans on killing each and every one of them, but he doesn't want innocent people to die. He doesn't want the Saviors to go after the whole community of the kingdom, right? So he wants to kill him in front of the Saviors for that reason, to prove his loyalty to them, and he wants to kill Richard in front of Ezekiel to let Ezekiel know that Morgan is now changed, he's now different, and Richard was not only doing something selfish in starting the war, he wasn't being smart about it. And from the conversation they had in the room, from what Richard tells Morgan, he's basically telling him that, now we can do this. Yeah, it sucks that Benjamin is dead, but now we have a reason to fight. Now blah, blah, blah. Now this, now that. So I can totally see Morgan in that moment in his room dissecting Richard's conversation and saying to himself, I can't do it here. I can't do it like this. I'm going to do it when we go and bring the last cantaloupe. Let me just talk about a few things I didn't like. The fact that nobody tries to stop Morgan, I mean from the kingdom, forget about the Saviors, of course they're not going to stop him, but nobody from the kingdom tries to stop Morgan from from killing Richard. These are people that have known Richard. They're part of his community, part of his family, just like how Morgan and them were part of Rick's family, you know? I find it hard to believe that these people wouldn't try and stop him. I'm not saying kill him, pull him off of him, grab him, whatever. And I know, all right, we don't want to do that because we want Morgan to kill Richard in this moment. And we want him to kill him with his bare hands. And we want him to kill him just like he killed that kid in Here's Not Here, choking him out while the kid is fighting against it. But I feel like they could have did that and then had it be where the group pulls him off and then Morgan pulls out the gun and just shoots Richard in the head. And then says what he has to say while everybody is stunned. And it still would have played out the same, but you wouldn't have felt like, why are they just standing there letting Morgan choke him out? I did not like the way that scene played out. Did I like the result? Yes. Did I like the reason for it? Absolutely. But I didn't like the way it was handled, in that I feel like Jerry and Diana and that other dude, Ezekiel, somebody should have went and tried to pull Morgan off and either got, snuffed out, or they pull him off and then you think it's calm, Richard's getting up, Morgan pulls out the gun and shoots the dude. I think that would have been more effective and it would have been a better way to end that part, in my opinion. Okay. Yeah, so that's how that plays out. And then we see at the end, Morgan is like, I'm going to go take them out. One by one, everyone I see, basically, he's going to clear. Now, it's a different kind of clear now, because now he still has people he cares about. He may not have people he considers true family like he did with Benjamin, but I think he does have those feelings for Rick and the group. He loves Carol, as a friend. He loves the group. And I think his plan now is, I'm going to clear the saviors. You see him sharpening his staff back at the end. So Crazy Morgan is back. But I still believe that All Life is Precious Morgan is still going to be present. And you're going to see that. Maybe he's going to come across an unarmed savior and not kill him. Or maybe he's going to be burying the ones that he kills. That's what I can see happening. Every savior he kills, I can see him digging graves and burying them all. Just the way like him and Eastman were burying the bodies back at Eastman's cabin. But you see him sharpening the staff, and he's basically going to go clear all the saviors, and that's how it ends with Morgan. Overall, I like the episode. I had, like I said, a few nitpicks. Oh, the whole thing with bringing one cantaloupe in the big truck. Come on, man. You're wasting all that gas. You're putting unnecessary miles on an important resource in that big truck just to bring one cantaloupe. You can't bring it on horseback. They have horses. I don't get it. I didn't like that either. But that's pretty much it. All in all, I liked the episode. I would have given it a 4, but I'm going with I don't know. I was going to give it a 3.5. You know what? I'm going to give it a 4 because the two little nitpicks I have weren't really that serious. The arc pushed forward. There was a lot of tension, a lot of action. Well, not a lot of action. But there was a lot of tension. There was some action in this episode. And I really, really like what they're doing with Gavin. They're showing you that all the saviors aren't monsters. That they have rules and they want to follow the rules and they want to do things the way they're supposed to be done. He tells them, I don't want no more cantaloupes. Just bring me what you owe me. I like that. And he does, and the way he treats the one Jared, the one savior that kills Benjamin, he makes him walk home. He basically treats that guy like the scumbag he is. I like how they're showing you the human elements of the saviors. They also do it when they show you the sanctuary, but I got another video coming about just the sanctuary and how it works and everything, and I'm going to get more into that on how they're basically showing you that this community has good people too, just like our community has some maybe not bad people, but not so good people. All right. That's 14 minutes. I hate when I always do that, talk about the time, but getting kind of long for the video. So all in all, I'm going to give it, that's it. I'm putting my foot down. 4.0. If you're not a huge Walking Dead fan, if you're not die hard, take a half a point off, give it a 3.5. I wouldn't give it any less than that. Solid episode, good story, progressively move the plot along, and we can see now how they're setting up the future. I'm going to talk about this in the predictions, but you can see now how they're planting the seeds all over, spread out all over the communities, and we can see it forming on how everyone is going to get into this fight, get into this battle, and be part of Season 8's storyline. I can see it. Right, this episode they set up how Carol and Morgan are gonna and Ezekiel in the kingdom are gonna end up joining the fight. Even though they were all seeming to be at conflict with that, none of them wanted to be part of it. None of them wanted to be in it. So yeah, that's it. All right. You like the video? You want to see more? Definitely share, subscribe, become part of the Screen Fiend fam. Got anything to say? Hit me up down below. Sorry, scatterbrained as always, but it's even worse when I'm not feeling well. Yeah, so that's it, man. You guys have a good day, and I will see you next time.